Stew it or do it.
Hi there, I'm Mark,
Hi, and I'm Marty.
and welcome to another episode of Stay in Your Lane, a sobriety show. Today we have a really interesting topic, and I think that it will resonate with a lot of people. We're going to talk about handling confrontation sober. Marty and I actually had a little confrontation this week, and it was completely my fault. And I think we both reflected on how we might or might not have handled that, you know,
Yeah,
if
are
we
you
were
going to
still
stew on it
drinking.
or do it?
Yeah, were we
right.
going to stew on it or do something about it? So first, before we dive into
I was
that
gonna say,
conversation, yeah, I want to give a shout out to Brene Brown. She's our celebrity sober person for the day. I know many of you know Brene Brown. I use a lot of her stuff in my coaching, and I'm just so honored to be able to send her strength and healing energy today in her own sober journey.
and she's been quite an inspiration.
She has been, yeah. A lot of her books and stuff were really instrumental in my decision to get into coaching. And I just really resonate with a lot of work that she does. I love her podcast. So I'm just so honored again to give her a shout out today.
Yeah, so moving right into the topic
Sure.
about like we talked about the pandemic and the COVID chaos and how to handle it. And none of us have been through something like this before.
Right.
Even politicians, your spouse, your children, no one's had to or been even prepared or taught what to do, right? And so we're hearing about social distancing, we're hearing about wearing your mask, not having family over for the holidays, and we ran into a situation where Mark is actually starting to take Spanish lessons. Congratulations!
Hola.
And he invited his tutor over to the condo. And beforehand, I spoke up and let him know this is how I was feeling about bringing people into our personal space, and that I was kind of upset that he just went ahead and scheduled him coming to the condo without talking to me first. So Mark was kind enough to discuss with me what my comfort zones were on having somebody here, wearing the masks, social distance between each of us, and so we actually had a plan to move forward. Do you want to take it from there?
Oh yeah. So I had the tutor over, and very quickly we started jumping into our lesson, and I started feeling more comfortable with him as a person and the situation. And when we got into part of the lesson where we were speaking, I said, I'm comfortable if you're comfortable taking your mask off. And at that moment, I was really only thinking about what I was doing at the moment. I wasn't regarding Marty and our conversation in the safety of the space. And there really was no excuse for that. Marty came out, we had our masks off, we weren't probably 6 feet apart, we were more like 3 feet apart. And I completely understand why it upset him.
And so then I had mentioned something that they had their masks off. You had said because you were doing pronunciation, and then I went back into the office and started working. And I was listening in on their lessons, and then so I was in there stewing on it, and they were out there doing their lessons, and then on top of it, Mark had offered him to use the half bath the by my room, and then so then I was compounding in my thoughts. How could he say this to this person? Now this person's going to use my bathroom, and so I was in there stewing on it, and it lasted for the majority of the day. The
Right.
gentleman left. I actually had come and gone out of the condo several times. Didn't say hello or goodbye, and it was eating away at me. And I'm going to tell them what was going on in your thoughts.
Well, yeah, I had a feeling I knew what Marty was mad about, and I was waiting for him to process it and approach me. And I knew that we could have hopefully a healthy conversation about it. And that ended up is what exactly happened.
But I was waiting for you to address and come to apologize to me
Right.
about it.
Right. Marty was waiting for me to come and apologize. And I knew that I would apologize. I wanted to hear from him what he was upset about. And we ended up having a very healthy conversation about it. We both completely respected each other's perspectives on it. I took full responsibility for not living up to my end of the agreement that we had made. And at the end of it, we both kind of realized we're navigating a lot of things during this pandemic. First and foremost, we're navigating staying in a small space together during a pandemic. Secondly, we're navigating what are our comfort zones, which change by the minute.
Correct, right?
According to the pandemic. And I think we constantly have little light bulb moments about one thing might start to make us feel uncomfortable. But Marty brought up a good point. There are other things in our lives that actually might be putting us more at risk, but it doesn't strike us that way at the moment. So I think, the little bits of mental health and, what's the word I'm looking for? Uncertainty that are creeping into our lives at the moment, and fear really, really can unsettle us and get us off balance. But the thing that really resonated with both of us, and I think you can attest to this as well, is we were able to have an adult, mature conversation and speak our minds in a healthy, respectful way without getting mad, without getting upset.
But the prelude to that, in my mind, I went through a bunch of scenarios that were not healthy and adult-like, right? Before I decided on, okay, let's do this amicably.
Right.
I'm not coming out of the office and firing him like, you did this, you did that, this is what you should have done. Instead, I was like, look, this is how I feel about this. This is my interpretation of what took place. I gave Mark what I was feeling and not giving him a list of demands on this is what you should have done. So bringing down the confrontational part, not even getting to there where, before with alcohol involved. And I think that's the point that I want to get at, is that an alcohol-induced discussion quickly becomes an argument.
Correct.
Where you're only looking at it from your perspective, right? And so that's what I think that the maturity and the ability to see a larger focus in the other person's feelings, putting that first, was a good foundation for our resolve.
Absolutely. And I think in any situation, if there is any type of substance involved, it's not the best time to have any type of real conversation. So I appreciate the fact that we were able to do this in our sober lives, because it looks much differently than it might have looked a few years ago when we were drinking. I also think that, we have a responsibility to tell how we feel about a situation versus attacking another person based on our perception of their behaviors. So all in all, it just all makes for a much healthier interaction.
Yeah, most definitely. And the thing is, the only thing we could have done better is both of us could have not waited out the apology. We could have gotten to that sooner.
Right.
But I think it worked out just fine. But there's a lot of power in apologizing.
Absolutely.
For you and the other person.
Right.
There's a lot of strength.
Yeah, for sure. And a good apology, I can't speak to this exactly the way I've heard it, but a good apology is, I am sorry for what I did to make you feel that way. Mm-hmm. Period. If there's ever a but after an apology,
right,
then it's not a real apology. So really think about that too when you have a conflict with someone. How can you turn that into a healthy conflict and create a great conversation versus an attack?
Yeah, and I think be precise and don't beat around the bush. Don't sugarcoat your feelings. Put it out there. Be vulnerable. Let the person know this is exactly how I interpreted this. This is exactly how I felt.
Absolutely.
And I think that you can be more laser focused in sobriety than when there's an intoxicant.
Absolutely.
Like it would have been a very different outcome.
Oh, very different. Yeah, we're still friends and we're taping the show.
For now.
Yay. Thank you guys so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, please like and subscribe.
And we'll see you soon.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.